Alright, Schlockmeister fans, another re-review from my previous channel. It's The Ring. Let's check it out. Our film starts out with two bored teenage girls.
Have you heard about this videotape that kills you when you watch it? What kind of tape? And what they say is, you will die in 7 days. And exactly 7 days later, who told you that?
Of course, they decide to watch it. Some strange things start to happen. Naomi Watts plays Rachel,
They were very close.
come to pick up her son at school.
They spent a few nights a week together. Did he talk to you about her death? Well,
The funeral for Rachel's niece, that's the girl who died.
4 hours on the internet and I couldn't find one single case of the 16-year-old girl's heart just stopping.
Several people have died. She wants her to find out what happened to her daughter.
What happened?
She's a journalist.
Find out. It's what you do, isn't it? Ask questions.
is he here?
Josh is dead.
What? What happened?
Supposedly he killed himself.
So it turns out her niece Katie and a friend had both spent some time together 7 days prior to their deaths. And that's a picture taken that night. Turns out those people who died watched a videotape and died 7 days later. She decides to check in at the same cabin
I'll take cabin 12.
the kids stayed in. She finds a videotape and plays it, and it's filled with a lot of weird images. And the phone rings. So now she has viewed the tape, and look at that.
Is this the same camera?
No, scan the rest.
She takes a copy of the tape to Noah, her ex-boyfriend and father of her son.
No, I mean up there at the top.
He's an AV guy.
Oh no, that's just a track. I can fix it.
She goes to visit Becca,
How did she die?
her niece's friend.
Please. I need to know.
So she views the tape more and more, and she seems to be able to detect images and of a certain place she recognizes.
Shit. Nora's drowning.
They come from an island where a family lived that had horses. And then this goofiness happens. That's hair. And then there's a girl in a puddle of water. After she wakes up, she goes and checks on Aiden, who is watching the tape. She decides to go check out this island. There's a horse
Hey, you.
who starts to buck and go crazy with her presence. And it's going to be able to escape. After running around the boat for a while, the ferry. So she's looking for the house of Anna Morgan, who lives on that island. And she finds the house and some creepiness. She finds her
Excuse me, Miss
widower.
Morgan. I was wondering if you'd have a moment to speak with me. My name's Rachel Keller. I'm a writer with the Seattle PI.
You want to know about the horses?
I read you had to put so many down.
Most put themselves down. They drown.
How'd they get out?
They just broke through the fences and ran to the shore.
From your wife.
Turns out they had a daughter, too.
Anna's on this tape. She's right there in that room.
You can see the lighthouse, the horses.
Say and force the world to experience. Spread it like sickness.
Mr. Morgan.
Tell me, Liz. What is it you think you know?
Noah broke into the records at the mental hospital where Anna had been and finds proof that, yes, they had a daughter.
Aiden, why did you draw that house?
She told me to.
Who?
Who told you to?
Little girl.
The girl's name was
When they came
Samara.
back, it was with Samara. Adopted, they said. Never did say from where. Said the mother died of complications.
Okay, now, man.
Does it say who was the last person who watched it?
The father had a videotape and took it.
Yeah.
She finds the tape that her father took.
How did you make these pictures?
We see Samara for the first time.
Samara.
She's never gonna whisper to you ever again.
She accuses him of doing something to their daughter. And then he goes right upstairs and fries himself. She goes up to the loft and finds evidence that Samara was around at one point. And Noah shows up. They tear away some wallpaper or something and find a tree, a painting.
No,
Same tree that was at the cabin.
I've been there.
So they go to the cabin, rip up the floorboards, and find a well underneath it. And through a series of mishaps, Rachel's going in. She survives the fall, finds a clump of hair. Could this be where Samara ended up? Anna and Richard Morgan knew that their daughter was evil, so they dumped her. And then she finds her body. She apparently lasted 7 days in that well before she died.
It's okay now.
The authorities show up. Rachel's rescued. They feel it's all over now, that they can give her a proper burial and such. Back to reality. The TV won't shut off. Aiden told his mom you shouldn't have helped her. And now the tape is playing. She goes home, she finds Noah's body, then goes back home and destroys the videotape. She wonders why she was spared. Now she's worried about Aiden. And she realizes by making a copy, she was getting the word out about Samara. So they're making a copy and passing it to someone else.
What happened to them?
All right, let's talk about The Ring. Second time in my life I've seen this movie. You know, this movie is 20 years old now. It's been around quite a while. But anyway, the movie itself, it's a remake of a Japanese horror film from a few years earlier, maybe 1998. It was called Ringu, I think is what it was called. Naomi Watts stars as, she's a journalist, I guess, and her niece dies. And she decides to investigate what happened to her niece. And the rumors are that her niece and some of her friends or other kids have watched this videotape that apparently if you watch it, 7 days later you die. You watch this tape, which is filled with these weird images, and then you get a phone call that basically says 7 days, and 7 days later you die in some way, shape, or form. So she looks into this. She gets a copy of the tape, and she makes a copy and brings it to her ex-boyfriend Noah, who she has a son with. And he's some audio-visual guy. He works in some place. And they look at the tape, and she sees some weird images on there that somehow attached to some woman named Anna Morgan, who lives on an island somewhere nearby. So she decides to investigate that. Anna Morgan is dead. Her husband still lives there. I can't remember how Anna died. I think she killed herself or something. But anyway, she does some further investigation. She finds out that they had a daughter, and the daughter's dead. And Noah, the ex-boyfriend, tries to find stuff about her. He goes to this mental hospital to find out stuff. Ultimately, they end up back on this island, and they find this cabin, and something compels them to rip like the wallpaper off the wall, and they find this like painting of a tree, which she recognizes as a tree that was where her niece had watched this videotape at some sort of cabin out in the woods somewhere. They end up ripping up on this island where Anna lived, and her husband Richard. Richard, by the way, says something to the effect of, Anna was evil. I'm sorry, their daughter Samara was evil, and then he kills himself by electrocuting himself in the bathtub. And then we find this well below the floorboard. Something pushes her in. She falls in the water, and then she finds a body down there. And then we see some sort of flashbacks and stuff. We learn that this girl Samara was evil in some way, shape, or form. Although I don't know exactly what she did to make herself evil, but she was evil. She wanted to hurt people. The body's found there, so they bring the body up. They say, we're going to give you a burial. And apparently her mother had pushed her into the well. We see that actually. Mother pushed her, or like put a bag over her head, dropped her in the well, and killed her. I guess she survived for 7 days. That's the 7-day thing. So they think, well, now that now that you've been buried, you're no longer risked anything. But unfortunately for her, her son Aiden had also watched this tape, as did Noah, the ex-boyfriend, and she wonders why she was spared. Well, then she surmises that she sent she took the tape and passed it on, and basically passed the word on. So I guess if you pass the word on and pass tape to somebody else, you'll be spared. So then she goes to check on Noah, and Noah, who didn't pass the tape on to anybody, Samara comes out of his television, creepy scene, and basically kills him. And then she's worried about her son Aiden, so like the 7 days are up now, so then she surmises, I got to make a copy of this tape. So they make a copy of the tape, and they're going to pass that on to somebody else to basically pass the word, and subsequently Aiden will be spared, and that's how our movie ends. So I don't know, I kind of had a convoluted description there, but that's basically it. It's kind of all the scenes that I just showed you. So now the movie itself, it was actually, I enjoyed it. It was pretty decent. No nudity, not a lot of gore really, but there was a few deaths in it, but it's got an overall creepy atmosphere, which I really liked. And the way this film was shot, it was shot in like, I don't know, the colors were kind of like darkish blue, black, gray. There wasn't a lot of vibrant colors in this film. It kind of added to that effect to this thing. The only thing is, I couldn't quite figure out, based on the last scene in the movie, or near the last scene in the movie, how she was surmising that she survived. What exactly she did. She just says something about making a copy, and I even looked on Wikipedia to read about it. That didn't give me much either. It just said this is what happened. Then I did some further research online. Then I talked about how she was surmising that because she passed on the word, basically passing on this tape to somebody else, getting Samara's word out there of what happened to her, that's why she was spared. So again, if that was made clear in the movie, I totally missed it. I don't think it was, though. But whatever. Anyway, I enjoyed the film. Did have a creepy atmosphere. So there. Anyway, I think they made a couple of sequels to this movie. I haven't seen either of them. All I've seen is The Ring, and I enjoyed The Ring. So yeah, there you go. Check it out. Leave some comments. I'm sure a million people have seen this because this did get some pretty good notoriety and was a big hit at the box office too. So you've all seen it probably more than I have. Check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about The Ring. Watch it. Bye.